crazy one. I mean, it was done right in the heat of lockdown over here in the UK when it first came about, and that's when like the deal just went through as well. So it was like all of a sudden it was like, okay, you're getting into lockdown, and can you make us 10 tracks? And then it was like, okay, this is a challenge, because I'm very much I mean, my main thing is being a producer. Like, that's sort of where my sort of ability lies, as much as everything else. I just basically use the instruments to express like the music that I want to create, but the production is like the main thing that I revolve myself around. So I'm very much based in studios, like recording studios, and I'm very much on the quest for tone as well. So like anything that sounds weird or cool or just like super just dusty, I think that's sort of the tones that I gravitate towards as well. So without a recording studio, I had to do it all in this room basically. The album is recorded in a recording studio when we first came out, but it was all written here on that thing, on this mic and these guitars over here. And it was a crazy process, because it was just every day. And I was trying to find, and the reason for it being called Strange Beauty and the whole message behind it is really just trying to find, like, in every day-to-day life, the things that mean the most to us and the things that bring us joy every day, like even if it's the small things, whatever it is. And I was trying to express that in the music. So even if it was as small as getting outside and the sun shining, like, that can influence the chord progression that I do that day on that tune. And it's basically, that's what Strange Beauty is built around. That's what the whole 10 tracks is built around. It's just tones, the inspiration that some of the tones bring, and the inspiration that everyday life and the beautiful things that happen in everyday life, the music that creates. And that's the sort of concept that I wanted to explore throughout the whole 10 tracks. This is my first album. I'd done the Eyes Closed EP before, and that was with the help of an engineer called Malcolm Cato, and he is sort of like an analog head. So a lot of the tone, I basically shadowed him in the sessions as the producer. And I think I must have been about 18 at this point, 18, 19. And I remember listening to the Yusef Kamal Black Focus album, and Malcolm done that. So then I was very much gravitated towards them sort of like dusty, raw tones, them organic analog tones, quite a vintage sound. And ever since them sessions, I've just been obsessed with trying to recreate the sound of the 70s, but in sort of like a new way, in sort of like a digital world anyway. But that's why the help of recording studios and meeting these engineers along the way has sort of enabled me to sort of take it into my own process and think of these things above everything else. So as much as, you know, I do love playing guitar, piano, synths, I'm a massive synth head, and bass and stuff like that, it is more so like the tones in the production that I'm trying to recreate, using these instruments and making these weird sounds and stuff, and utilizing them as production tools rather than instruments, if that makes sense. But yeah, it basically bloomed from that first EP, because that was sort of my own first artist thing. And then this album, yeah, I've sort of just dived headfirst really into it. But I think, you know, I'm grateful for the people I've met along the way and the people that I've shadowed to help me get sort of thinking in that perspective. Yeah, I mean, you hit the nail on the head with Herbie. I'm absolutely inspired by that man. He is phenomenal, and all, you know, he's on daily. George Duke as well. It's really weird because, like, I'm first of all not, like, my first instrument isn't piano, it's guitar. And as I mentioned earlier, like, the sort of main thing that I practice and focus every day is the production. So to have like an icon, like an idol, someone that I idolise, people like Herbie, people like George Duke, is really bizarre to me because I think it was because I was brought up on that music, and two, because it's just my favourite thing to listen to is just Fender Rhodes. And I think that sort of rubs off in the music that I make, because I don't think you'll hear a track of mine which doesn't have a Fender Rhodes on it. And I think that is down to being inspired from people like Herbie and George and many others. As you mentioned, D'Angelo as well, he's a fantastic Rhodes player. Like, it just loads of these different people all sort of muddled into one, is what I listen to every day anyway. And obviously I'm listening to new artists and stuff as well, but it is majority, like, it is people from the 70s up until like 2000s, all around that sort of bracket of the music that was being made then. But yeah, I mean, they were who I was inspired by. I would absolutely love to collaborate with Corinne Bailey Rae. I think she's wicked. Always have done. I just think her music really deeply resonates with me. I think like the production of it as well, the instrumental choices, and her as a vocalist as well, and the guitarist. You know, I think she's fantastic. I think that's definitely up there in my top collaborations, which I'd like to go for. But I think if I was even shooting a little bit higher in sort of the stratosphere, I mean, yeah, it's got to be Herbie. I think Herbie's just the top dog for me. He's absolutely fantastic. But as well, you know, there's a lot of producers as well, engineers. But I guess that's a completely other different world where there's many of them. So yeah. What's in store for the future? I mean, I'm really swaying towards the idea of making another album. I don't know why. There's something about big projects that absolutely entice me. But I think as well as that, I do really want to sort of get into some collective work. I think maybe, you know, linking up with other producers or artists and sort of make a collective body of work. I really think that's sort of, and me taking a sort of much more of a producer role in it and a programming role, and maybe getting involved other instrumentalists rather than myself doing it this time. Whether that's a thing that happens in the far future or the near future, I don't know, but it is something that I'm definitely thinking about, especially mentioning people like Herbie and stuff. You know, I'm a big fan of instrumentalists and I am one myself, but I think getting other instrumentalists involved can really bring out some different ideas. And I think because I spend a lot of the time doing the production and quite little of the time playing the instruments, I think it would be a cool project to get involved with the different instrumentalists, I mean, I'm a huge fan of vocalists anyway, as you can probably tell. I'd love to have quite a few on different projects, and all from different backgrounds as well, and different musical tastes and stuff. I think that's the beauty of it, because everyone has their own influences. Like, I have mine, but like everyone who features on it and everyone who collaborates, you know, they come from a different world, and You know, for example, massive shout out to Full Stop. Like I've collaborated with her on this new album and on my first EP, so twice now. Out of, I mean, it'd probably be, I think it's like 16 songs it will be in total in my name, and she's on 2 of them, and she's just insanely good and creative with the way that she does things, and she's just so nice as well. She's just such a lovely person, and it's such a blessing to be able to work with her. And yeah, along them lines as well, like FiFi Robo, like again, I've collaborated with twice, 3 times now actually, sorry. And yeah, she's just amazing as well. And there's something about working with people that I think you get on with a personal level as well, that it sort of becomes a spiritual thing, because all the things that you have in common, they come together in the room, and you just create something that has never been done before. Like, of course, the chord progression, all that type of that genre of tune probably has been done before, but the actual product that comes out of it, which you're both fully invested in, and your wavelengths just combine, I think it's just so beautiful. And then it's so humbling to be in that someone's presence who is that talented as well. So yeah, Full Stop, FiFi Robo. One of the ones someone that I did want to shout out is Marilisa, who is also on the True. It is a label buddy with True Thoughts. Shout out True Thoughts, Rob, Paul, Martha, everyone. But too many to shout out. But yeah, Marilisa is on the True Thoughts team as well, and Martha hooked us up, and it's on a tune called Brothers Shuffle. And I remember she just sort of, I sent it because she's based in LA now, but I'm pretty sure, I can't remember where she was living at the time, but she was in America. So it was, and this was in lockdown as well, so it was really, you know, it was basically impossible to link up in the studio. So everything was done online, as pretty much the whole album was, but this was completely different because it's 2 completely different spaces. But it was so amazing because I just sent her the track and didn't really say a lot. Obviously, we get on as people, but I sort of was just like, look, you do your thing, because I absolutely love your music and your, like, the creative space that you're in. So you just go ham, like just do whatever you please. And she got back within like a week and just completely just shelmed it. Like she is amazing, and I'm pretty sure that was the first draft she sent through of just being like, oh yeah, it's a little, you know, it's a little rough around the edges, but what do you think? And it was perfect. It wasn't rough in the slightest. She is amazing. But yeah, shout out to Marilisa, she's wicked. And everyone on the album, especially the engineers, Jim McRae, Andy Ramsey, everyone involved, Malcolm Cato. Yeah, it wouldn't be the same without them. It really wouldn't. Benny Giles, it just wouldn't be the same without them, because, as I said, I am on an absolute quest for tone, and it is so humbling to have people around me who really do specialise in that as well, and are really heavily focused on finding that perfect tone for that perfect instrument, for that perfect sound. And it's something that I really sort of work myself up about in the process. Like, am I spending too long on this? Is it too much? Is this the right sound? But then to have people around you that sort of go, well, it sounds beautiful to me, and you know, it just sort of makes you go, it is very humbling to be around. So shout out to all the engineers and the artists on it as well.